Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video. And yeah, we've been very busy the last couple of weeks, mainly putting the wheat in. So drilling the wheat, and we actually put the barley in about a week ago. I brought you into this field because this is Big Picket field, and this is my toughest field on the farm. I mean tough by having a high clay content, and it's always a challenge to get stuff to grow in here. And I'm going to take you through how we've got this field round, how you look at it and it doesn't look as though we've put a crop in yet, it just looks like it's stubble, and explain the reason for that. And then we'll go up to the top. I can hear a machine working. That's John on the drill at the moment, drilling a different sort of field as well. So I'm going to take you through all that things. But God, what a couple of weeks it's been with news for farmers and what's been happening, and specifically gas prices and fertiliser plants shutting down. And suddenly we thought we knew everything we had to be concerned about for 22 harvest, and now it's fertiliser and the price of fertiliser. Now we buy liquid fertiliser, and it's too complicated to sort the price out on that. So I'm going to quote the prices for what the majority of farmers in the UK use, and that's bagged fertiliser. It's prilled, it's white prilled, 34.5% nitrogen, we term it. And the price of it, which is the bit I want to discuss rather than the actual how it's made up. The price of nitrogen always around the £200 a tonne ish. Used to go £20 either side of that, depending if it was a more expensive year or a cheaper year. Last year about 220, so it was on the climb. This year it opened, the market sort of opens in sort of harvest time when you're thinking about what you're going to plant, at £335 a tonne. We thought, what's this? It's gone up 50% in a year. And by the 3rd of September, I was looking, and it was about £365 a tonne. So it wasn't going down, it was going up. I hadn't bought any at that point. And I noticed today the price of nitrogen is £650 a tonne. So over 3 times the price it was for last harvest. I mean, a colossal rise that just blows all budgets out the window. And we've got to seriously look at how much nitrogen we use. We have to use it. If I put this wheat plant in here, we've drilled wheat in here, and I put nitrogen on it, and I want 3.5 tonnes an acre budget figure, and hopefully in a good year get more. If I didn't put any nitrogen on, 1.5 tonnes perhaps. So I would say 2/3 of the yield would disappear if we didn't put any nitrogen on. So it's an absolutely crucial ingredient to arable farming, modern arable farming in the UK. I've covered myself by buying 1 load of nitrogen, because we don't actually start putting it on until sort of Feb-March time. The oilseed rape is the first one you do, and then you use it in April and May. Well, end of April is about the last dressing. So it's something you can buy in the winter and store. That's what the fertiliser companies like you to do. Or you can buy it spot, as it's termed, in March, April, when you're actually using it. So yeah, a bit of a standoff on the fertiliser. What do you do when you've got a crucial commodity to your business has tripled in price in near enough, well, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So anyway, that's what's happening on the fertiliser market. I'm sure we'll get to mention it again. In here, so this field, Big Picket, is my toughest field, and we've part drilled it. We started last week. I saw how it was going, and it was too wet, and I actually pulled him out. So we've had a standoff for a week because the weather forecast was good, and I hate trusting the forecast, but it has proved to be right. And I want to just show you how it works. So we've glyphosate this field. We combined it, chopped all the straw, and then I came out with that straw rake just to germinate any weed seeds. And then we've sprayed it with glyphosate, and you can just see the volunteers going off here. There's a thistle there, not very happy. And then we've come in with this 1-pass drill. So it's minimal cultivations we're now trying to do. The old way of ploughing a field and then cultivating and bashing the clods down is sort of not done now, because it is hugely time consuming, and you don't actually gain much from these new modern machines that can do it all in 1 pass. So if you look at this field, there's a lot of trash here, and that's because it's only this one machine has gone through it. So it's not as pretty as ploughing, but the net effect is the seed sits in a really nice tilth. This is hard soil to get a tilth from under here. If I dig around, I'll see if I can find a seed for you. There's one. So there's that seed. Oh, there's a worm as well. So we're we're treating this seed like this ground like this, so one, the worms can do their business. That's why there's so much trash. We like worms, they break down and make this soil more friable, and there are the seeds. Now they're just starting to chit. So that's in friable soil, nice crumb structure, and you can just see the root on that wheat seed there. If I put it like that, you see the wheat root and then the shoot coming out the top. So that's perfect, that's just what I want. And they're all germing. There's another one there, exactly the same stage. So that's what I want to see, that seed all at the same stage, that's all germed at the same time, they'll all come up through the ground and a lovely crumb structure. That's what's happening under the ground. Doesn't look very pretty, but it's very effective on this heavier ground if you get the right machine. I'll go and explain the drill. And the other thing I've done in here, I've already rolled this field, and I thought I'd drop in a clip now and just show you that tractor guidance in action, because I used it out here and I just did a sort of iPhone clip, so you can just see how that works, gives you works rate, and how the tractor will give you sort of amount of diesel using per hectare and that sort of thing, which I'll discuss in a moment. So I'm going to put those clips in now. I thought it was worth explaining again how this guidance on this tractor works. So I'm doing this on an iPhone. I'm going to just see if I can swap over something. Look at that. I'm going to put it onto wide angle. So there you go. That's the screen I'm looking at, and I can see I'm doing 9.2 hectares an hour, and the tractor is following, guiding on that line. I've got rolls behind, there they are, and I'm sort of coming up to the headland here, and obviously I am not having to steer this tractor, which is all very weird. I will now steer it because I want to turn and go into the next bout across the field, and that's gone red on there already, so I'm going to press that button there, and then the wheels will do their thing and the tractor will turn in, and I can see a tram line there, so it's going to settle on that tram line there. That pre-emergent marker is what I'm looking at there, and it's just wonderful. And you sit back in this, I listen to sort of podcasts and various things, and I just can't get over how easy it is to operate. Look, there's the fuel economy, blessed reflections. Yeah, there we are. Fuel economy 1 litre a hectare, work rate 9.5 hectares. So there you go. Yeah, that's sort of modern tractor driving, and I love it. And I sort of try and sort of do a podcast, listen to a podcast. Favourite thing is actually when there's an F1 race on. This is just a lovely camp to be in, quiet, fantastic sound system, and it's a very different way of sort of tractor driving than when I first started on the farm. I just love this guidance, it's so relaxing. I've come out here because it's a nice thing to do these days with all this trick technology, and so nice that I can see ahead of me with no hands on the steering, not concentrating, bang on the tram line. How clever is that? Anyway, a little insight for you as what I'm doing at the moment, just rolling. We've drilled the centre of this field. I thought it was too wet, so haven't done the headland yet, but I just wanted to get it rolled before it all germinates. We drilled this about 36 hours ago, and it's quite damp, the soil, so the seed will be coming up. I've got to do something now. I've got to do another headland. So yeah, I grabbed the wheel to do the turn at the end of the field like that. Oh, I'm not on that screen. I'm going on the wrong screen. Anyway, I'm going to press that blister because the tractor knows what it's doing, and it's going to turn onto the mark. And if I find the right screen, whoops, there it is. I'm then following that red line, and if I look at this screen, there we are. Yeah, it is currently, that's how accurate it is. Oh, it's blessed reflections. Yeah, you'll see there, it's about 2.8 centimetres out, 3 centimetres out, 1, 2, etc. You don't have to look at that too carefully, but that is how accurate the guidance is going across this field. So there you go, a little insight into modern day tractor driving. Just look here, I can see where the drill has pulled out. Just wanted to show you this. So this is this is the drill's pulled out of here. That's why it's sort of lumpy and bumpy. So that's pre-roll, and then that is post-roll. It sort of looks like that. So it does a crucial job rolling, and then we put something called the pre-Ms on these. Spray that we put on is a herbicide that is acts as the seed comes through the soil. It zaps the weed, and it's a crucial part of the look at that of farming, because it controls the weeds all through the winter. This field, once we've drilled and put the pre-M, as it's termed, on, we shouldn't go back in this field until we're putting fertiliser, if we have any, on this crop in March. That's the plan anyway. It doesn't always work out like that, but you can just see, this is where I said to John, I think it's just too wet. We'll pull out and we'll come back and do this. So this is what it looks like before you go drilling, and that's what it looks like after. It's funny, you have to walk out in the field to sort of spot the difference. And I'll just show you a wet bit up here, and then we'll head off to another field. Now, if you have a farm and you go around your fields in your Defender, you will find that the modern cars and the seat belt bleeping at you is very annoying. And but I've got a top tip. On eBay and Amazon, you can now buy these sort of seatbelt replacement buckles. So I presume it's going, there we are, it's pinging away, and all I'm going to do is go to that other field. I'm not going to put my safety belt on just for that. With this buckle, I can put it in here, and it now thinks there's a safety belt attached, and I'm wearing a safety belt, so it shuts up. They're about £3 on Amazon or eBay, highly recommended by me. Don't use it on the road though, it's only when you're on the farm. Anyway, this is a completely different field I'm going to take you to now. This was in oilseed rape, and rather than using that straw rake, this one we did with the carrier discs, and again we put glyphosate on it and it sprayed off, but this has every weed going under the sun because of the oilseed rape failure basically, and all those weeds coming up. And so this is a different sort of look, but I'll just have a quick look. If I jump out now, I'll have a quick look at this field. So I say this was in oilseed rape, so you can tell, and I've done this with the carrier, so that different cultivator. It's a heavier cultivator than the straw rake, so I want to do a bit more incorporation and see if I can get the weed chitted, because there's a lot of trash and rubbish as in this field due to the failure of the oilseed rape. You wouldn't think there was a failure of the oilseed rape when you look at it, the amount that came out the back of the combine and shed out the things. But what I want to show you, this is farmer enemy number one, and this is called blackgrass, this sort of feathery grass you can see here, and it's a bit scary to see this amount of blackgrass in this field, and that is what we're using glyphosate particularly to kill off this blackgrass. It's a hugely invasive grass weed if you're growing wheat, and it's very hard to control once the crop is established. We used to have a chemical, we term it IPU, which again was a pre-emergence spray we used to put on in sort of November time, and it was specific to blackgrass in particular, and it was very good at controlling it. It got banned because they decided they could find it in water courses. There was traces of it, got banned, and that's made us basically use more glyphosate to try and control this blackgrass before we plant anything. And we do that by the cultivation, getting it to germinate, spraying it off with glyphosate. We're going to drill into this, and then we'll probably leave it as long as we can before the wheat comes through, because we have to put these chemicals on pre-emergence, to see if any blackgrass has come through the surface, and then give another little bit of glyphosate within the mix and see if we kill off any rogue blackgrass that come through. It's a real pain, this basically all cropping and things to control this blackgrass, and some farms are worse than others, and unfortunately this particular farm has always had a blackgrass problem, and it's very hard to get over, but we're doing our best by this minimal cultivation. But having said that, we've got a great tilth here. I'm really, we're going to drill into this. This used to be such a heavy clay, but that's just breaking up beautifully, and actually having this sort of load of rape volunteers is good, because it's like a green mulch. What soil likes best, and earthworms, is a crop, something growing. So by spraying it off and then incorporating it, it's party time for the worms, because they've got so much organic matter to incorporate to make soil. So we're improving the state of the soil and the crumb structure by doing this, by this stale seed bed, as I explained before. So right, this is what it looks pre-drilling. Now we'll go and have a look at the next field and you'll see what it looks like post-drilling. You can hear a noise. John is just drilling in here. This is wheat after wheat. We'll go and have a look at that in a moment. We'll drive across, but there you go. I don't know if you can see the machine in action. So yeah, again, that one's been done with straw rakes. It almost looks like there's nothing has touched that field, but I have been out there straw rake and then we've sprayed off with Roundup the weeds. But I wanted to show you in here actually. We're putting, this is drilled oilseed rape in this field in here. While I remember, I've got to drop slug pellets off. We're having to slug pellet the ground that was rape and going into wheat. That's because there's been plenty of trash on the surface, and slugs have always liked oilseed rape to munch on. It's a brassica, and yeah, it's one of their favourite things. So you always have a high slug population after oilseed rape. But anyway, let's go have a look in here. Now, this used to be one of the toughest grounds in this field. We had quite a lot of clay content in this field, and you would hardly guess it. I can really start to see the improving soil structure in here. Now we've sort of stopped ploughing and used this hybrid drills, Claydon drill. This is near perfect drill conditions. Trying to think, it's quite stony here. If you look at the real, one thing we're wondering is whether by not ploughing we're actually bringing more stones to the surface and sort of stirring them up. We're just noticing them more in here. But yeah, I haven't rolled this. That's my next job. Here's a pre-em marker, and you can just see every now and then a little pop of blue. So that's the slug pellets going on, very low rate. It's 4 kilos a hectare we're putting on. But rather than that other field, that big picket and that horrible heavy clay, this is a lovely structure in the soil, real crumb structure. Wet. I've got I just saw a seed there. So you imagine the seed in that is just perfect. No consolidation, lovely tilth, it's going to grow away. What you're trying to do with a seed is to cover it. Just cover it in a tilth and with a bit of moisture. And then I've got to come into the rolls, and that just seals the ground off, smooths it out. You can see that machine leaves it quite loose. So it's a heavy set of rolls, but I don't want to compact the soil too much. So I've actually let the tyres down on the tractor. They're running about 12 pounds, I think it is, PSI, 10 or 12 PSI in the tyres. It's quite scary. You pull the valve out and watch them deflate and quickly put the valve back in to get them down. So that's my next job in here, and I can just see a pre-emergent mark, so I can go down there, set the guidance, and then it will get the tram line every third one, because I can't see my rolling mark in here. So clever. And the tractor that he's drilling with puts the tram line in exactly the same spot every year. So if you're going to get any compaction from wheelings, it's always in the same part of the field, to the nearest centimetre or so. So that's how we control wheelings, and then we try not to run on the rest of the crop, and that always to do with soil health. Right, final bit, we'll quick look at the tractor in action. Right, here's the drill putting into this stubble. So we've baled the straw in here. I know he's coming with this Claydon, hybrid drill. You can just see the stirring action from the fixed leg tines, and then the ones with the pipes going down to them. That's where the seed's going into the ground with those, and then the back sort of levelling board and the harrows at the back just levelling it out. So it's a one-pass machine. What I can't get over is also slug pelleting, so I'll just move up so we're not getting slug pelleted ourselves. That tractor has a highly efficient engine. It's over 300 horsepower, but that is consuming, I think it's 6.4 litres a hectare doing this operation, which is really quite efficient. I'll discuss that in a moment. Right, I'm going to pull out the way because it's going to come out of the field. I'm going to have a look to see if we can find where the seed is, how the seed bed looks. And this is also one of the heaviest ground fields I've got. It's high clay content, but just the power of that tractor can turn it into a tilth. And you just look at that tilth, it is remarkable. But look at that worm, hello worm. He's probably had a bit of a shot this morning. But it does power through and does leave a reasonable tilth. And there's the seed in that tilth there, just where you want to see it really. If I can just do that again, there it is, just in that tilth there. That's what we're trying to do. I've got to come up here and roll it. But yeah, I've been conscious this year of trying to keep a record of the amount of diesel used per hectare on the farm to create a seedbed like this. And with the straw rake, that is about 1 litre per hectare. He's 6.4, the rolls are about 1.4. So a total of, I'll add it up on screen, it's 8, 9, about 9 litres a hectare, compared to 20 litres a hectare just to plough this field. And then we used to, my first farm, I used to power harrow, drill and then roll. And power harrow drill was pretty greedy on diesel as well. I'd say 15-ish, and then rolling 16. So say 16, 36, and yet now we're doing it for 9. So a massive reduction. There he goes. So yeah, a massive reduction in diesel usage, and that is really, glyphosate has allowed us to do that, and modern technology with the drills, and realising that we don't have to bury all the straw. It's actually better to have this organic matter on top and let the earthworms do the thing. It's better to encourage microbacteria to break down the soil rather than trying to bury it as you used to have to do. And we used to bury it because the drills couldn't cope with trash, as it turned, this amount of rubbish on the top of the surface. One point just on nitrogen, you might be asking, why are we using bagged nitrogen as it's termed, or nitrogen created out of gas rather than just using muck or chicken muck and that sort of thing, or biodigestive stuff. It's because that allows us to put the nitrogen on through the crop precisely. By using bagged nitrogen, we can get it to the nearest kilo per hectare that we want for the crop needs. If you're using chicken muck or that sort of thing, you apply it to the soil generally before you put the crop in, incorporate it and grow the crop. And yes, it provides nitrogen, but it's a bit hit and miss. You're not sure exactly how much nitrogen you're putting in the ground, and you can't sort of spread chicken muck on your crop once you've got it up and away and established. We're going to have to rethink, we'll revisit this area. But that's a conversation for another day. Right now, I need to get back to the farm because my job is now rolling, and he's been busy drilling yesterday, so I've got about 100 acres to roll today. So there you go, that's a little catch up what's happening on Harry's farm. Hope you enjoyed it. Quite a lot of tech, quite a deeper look at drilling and oil operations on the farm. If you have enjoyed it, well, please keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming on very soon.